am a strong believer of never, ever, 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 ever doubling back on a man that you originally curved. So I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and on my last video with Laterris and his new wife from the Dear Future Wifey podcast, I actually talked about the refrigerator theory, which I'm going to get into in just a second. And I just remembered about this video idea, and I'm like, you know what, this time I make this video because I did talk about never doubling back on a man. So the reason why I remembered is because originally when he first met her, Laterris met his wife, he wasn't interested in her like that. They were friends for 3 years, and he didn't become interested in her until he found out that she has potential suitors that could possibly take her seriously. And that's when he changed his mind. He was even trying to hook her up with people from his audience. He hosts a podcast. When she was on his show, he was trying to find, people for her to date. And again, he didn't become interested in her until he found out that, somebody else could possibly take her. So I was like, you know what, it's time to make this video. So, and when I'm talking about doubling back on a man, I'm not saying that a man you just meet or see in passing. I mean, you saw him. Okay, maybe you were interested or not, right? Especially if you weren't interested at first sight, right? Because looks aren't always the first thing. Or you may find somebody attractive, but you come to get to know them and they're not the person for you. Or you find that you're not compatible, or you don't like them, you don't like their personality, right? I mean, specifically, one, if you dated someone or you were in a relationship with someone and you guys broke up, do not, I repeat, do not double back on that relationship. And even if you weren't in a relationship with a person, if you weren't interested and then you got to know them, you're still not interested, you're not convinced, do not pursue a relationship with that person, especially if they spent months or years chasing you. Because the way that this man will put you through hell because they feel like their ego was hurt because of the fact that you curved them, baby, you're going to regret that situation. And I'm telling you, one of my personal beliefs has always been, if I curved you, there's a reason I curved you, right? If you meet someone, you get to know them and you're still not interested in them, that just means you were unattracted, you were unconvinced, and you were unimpressed. Your body clocked it before your brain caught up. So you doubling back is probably out of scarcity because you probably went out there, you were dating, or as they say these days, the dating pool is trash. So you probably were out there for a long time, looking for something and you couldn't find it. So then you decided, okay, you know what, maybe I'll give this person a chance. It's not really because you were impressed or convinced by them, but it's out of scarcity. I talked about the refrigerator theory. The refrigerator theory is something that I saw online where they say that when you're hungry and you keep going back, when you're hungry, sometimes you don't have food in the house for whatever reason. And let's say it's the middle of the night, you keep going back, checking the refrigerator. It's not because you're expecting food to magically appear or new food to magically show up in the refrigerator. It's because your brain is trying to see if you've dropped your standards low enough that you will accept whatever you've seen in the refrigerator. And that's the exact thing when you date someone that you were originally unimpressed and unattracted to, and you go and give them a chance. Most women will double back because the options have dried up. There's more pressure to date. You're reaching a certain age. You got to have kids by a certain age. What they tell you got to have families by a certain age, or you need to have some type of picture that shows that your life. And a lot of people, to them, having a man is a goal, is an accomplishment. Being married is a goal and an accomplishment. So a lot of women will feel the pressure to go and find someone. So they end up settling for someone that they weren't even interested in the first place. Even though they've gotten to know the person might stick around, and we'll get into that a little bit. The person might stick around and try to, see their way in, when really for them, it's really a mission that they're trying to accomplish. A lot of women will go back and double back on that person, not because they become more desirable or they magically became the one, but it's because really they're now feeling that the time constraint is becoming uncomfortable, and they don't see, a lot of people, they see themselves at specific points at specific ages, and it's getting uncomfortable. Maybe you've reached that age, you feel like you're quote unquote unaccomplished. And it's sad because a lot of women, they'll be very accomplished. They'll have, successful careers. They'll have a healthy friendships. They'll be taking care of themselves by themselves, but they still feel like, oh, having a man is what society told us, that this is the most important thing. It doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter what you've accomplished. If you don't have a man to validate you, essentially society tells you you're not worthy, right? And I find it funny, like anytime I'm in a debate or in the comments with somebody on TikTok, the first thing they always say to me is, oh, you're gonna die alone. That's why you don't have a man. And I don't share my personal business on social media. I just always think that's funny because that's the first thing that people go to. Is like, having a man is the ultimate status. And without a man, as a woman, you're not valuable. It doesn't matter what, like I said, your career, how far your career has been, what you've gone through life, how far you've made it into. Having a man is the ultimate goal, which is why a lot of women will end up settling for the bottom of the barrel. We see all these women, right, who they're with certain people, certain men, we're like, what does she see in him, right? But it's really the pressure, or the standards are so low that they will settle for any man just to say, I have a man. And like I said, men will make it their mission to get you, okay? Men do not forget that they've been curved. Their ego has been hurt. They will feel like they need to conquer you in a way. And once they do, your life will be a living hell. They will put you through it just to prove a point, because they know by that point, the reason why you came back, and especially if you've kept in contact and shared personal information with them, just like Laterrace's now wife did. She was sharing information about her dates with him, right? But he knows that, oh, the options are not so great out there, right? So now she's come back, right? So now I can behave any type of way. I can mistreat her, I can cheat on her, I can disrespect her. And a lot of women will tend to deal with that type of behavior because they feel like they're trying to justify to themselves that, oh, I have to make this work, right? So they're trying to justify their bad decision on doubling back on a man that, was not their first choice, is probably most likely not compatible with them, is not equally yoked to them, maybe financially, educational wise, or any on different types of levels socially. But a lot of women, they feel like, okay, I've chosen this man, so I have to see it through. I have to make it work, right? Because not only do I not have options, but the option that I have now, I know I curved him, but he's trying, right? Even when he's not. So now not only the pressure and everything else that comes with it, now you're making a bad decision and you're trying to justify that bad decision to yourself and to society just to say, oh, I got a man. For some men, that relationship was never the goal, right? It was just an ego project. She curved me. I'm going to conquer her. I'm going to humiliate her. Shout out to the game and Shanice and Evelyn Lozada. I'm going to humiliate her and feel like I conquered her. And guess what? I'm still not going to give her what she wanted. When a man wanted to win you more than he wanted to be with you, be in a relationship with you, the moment you say yes to them, it's the moment that they stop trying, right? Because all that resentment they harbor towards you, or they feel disrespected, especially if you curve them publicly. My God, because then they feel like, oh, now it's payback time. So then you end up in a relationship where there's a power struggle because there was already a power dynamic that was off, right? He already feels superior to you because she's back here, right? All this work that she did to get away from me, she couldn't find any other better option. So there she is now. So it's my turn to be the, above her and to show her who's really boss. A lot of men will stay around, and play their part, play their role. They'll be the man that you think that you want just to try to convince you to be in a relationship with them, right? Just like Laterrace. He didn't want her until someone else wanted her. And I'm sure, again, I talked about this in the previous video I have. I'm sure he saw how accomplished she is, how smart she is, and how much she could do for him and his brand. So that's when he decided to make the move and go for it, right? But that resentment is still there. Granted, in that relationship, she wasn't the one that curved him. He was the one that curved her. However, when you're in a relationship with somebody that you were the one that curved, right? That ego project again comes in. Things for certain, two things for sure. settling energy will always show. That woman will be insecure in that relationship, yet they will do the most trying to justify it, trying to overcompensate, trying to make sure that this one works. I've seen what's out there. I know, at least I know this person a little bit. At least they've been around. Maybe they feel like they know him enough that maybe I can change him, maybe I can work on him. And they make that man a project instead of saying, you know what, this is not the person for me. Eventually I will find the person for me, or this is what I'm doing wrong in my dating life. This is what I need to adjust, instead of working and reflecting on what they can do better, on how to, attract the person that they want, or maybe, they're behaving certain ways in a relationship that's causing the relationship to work out. No, they will settle for somebody that they think they know, somebody that they think they can work on, they can make better. But guess what? It never works out, because at the end of the day, that man will put you through the ringer knowing that you didn't have enough options, and that's why you're back here. And discernment and women's intuition is nothing to play with. So if you knew from the get-go that this was not the person for me, you go back, that doesn't make you open-minded. It just makes you disconnected from your discernment. So then a lot of women will go on to try to compare, this man to this man that they've dated. This is what I wanted, because he's not truly what you want. If you're with a person and you always feel the consistent need to compare him to other people, that means that there's things that you've gotten from other people that you're not getting from them, which is an indicator that this person is not compatible with you. This is not the person that you want. So again, men will curve as leverage, right? But women will curve because they know, okay, this is not what I want. Men will curve somebody and keep them on the side. And even, they'll go around to see if they can do better. And when they realize they can't, they'll come back. But women will curve because they know that's not what's right for them. So it's very important to be in tune with yourself and that women's intuition. One thing for certain, two things for sure, I know 100% that when I don't follow my intuition, I always end up getting a pie in the face. So that's why when I feel something, I always act on it or don't act on it based on what I'm feeling, because I know if I don't listen to my intuition, I will always end up regretting it. So it's very important to know, hey, I did not, there's something, even if your mind is not caught up and your heart is not caught up to where you are at, your body clocked it. There's something. I was watching something the other day where somebody was talking about, this is slightly a little bit different. Like sometimes there's a lot of microaggressions from people, but you can't really call it out, but you can feel it. It's something like you can just feel, but you can't really put your finger on it, but it's just a feeling that's there, right? It's the same thing. It's just a feeling, like deep down in your gut, you know that this is not the right person for me. You know that, something's off here. This is not where I want to be. If you don't want to be somewhere, leave. Please leave. The job, the relationship, the friendship, the country, whatever it is. If you don't want to be somewhere, I implore you to please leave. It's going to be difficult. I know we have to go against ourselves sometimes, because what we think that we want is not always what's best for you. So if you know that this is not what I truly want, make that move, right? What's the worst that can happen? Because you're already in a situation where you're not happy. It can only get better. And if it doesn't, then you'll learn from it and you'll make better decisions and you'll know what better options that you have. So why would you stick around with a man that, this is not the person for me? They're doing XYZ. I'm happy here emotionally, financially, just again, it's a very difficult thing to do, but you have to love yourself enough to make the difficult decisions that's going to help you in the future, that's going to give you the life that you want. Living the life that you want, a lot of people think, choices are just going to come to them. You have to make very conscious decisions every single day to get to the life that you want, whether it's in business, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's at work. You have to wake up and say, you have to know, even if you don't know what you want, you have to know what you don't want, right? I'm not sure exactly. Sometimes, you get in situations, you're like, wow, I never knew I would have wanted this. And I love it, right? But at least this what is something I don't know. When you know what you don't need, what you don't want, that's going to be a game changer for you. Because again, even if you don't know everything you want, it's very important to know what you don't want in life, because that's going to help you make decisions that that keep you away from the things that you don't want. And the level of exhaustion that you're going to feel to, just trying to justify your decision, just trying to explain away, the red flags, and trying to manage the red flags, and trying to, trust me, it is so much simpler, again, to make decisions on things that you don't, to cut out things that you don't want, no matter how much it hurts, no matter how sad it is, you think that it is. In the moment, of course, it's gonna hurt, but you putting yourself in a negative situation is going to deplete you. It's going to drain you physically, emotionally, medically. So it's very important to understand that things that are not aligned with you are energy drainers, right? It takes away from your youth. It takes away from your beauty. It takes away from your livelihood. It takes so much away from you. So it's key to know that this thing is so bad for me that it's impacting me in such a negative light, and that it's basically tying me to a situation where I could be out there doing something much better that is going to put me in the path of finding something that is better for me. And it doesn't necessarily always have to be in relationships. You can take that advice to use in any area of life, right? I know I don't want this job. I need this money right now, but this job is depleting me so bad that I don't have any energy. I can't focus. I'm anxious. I'm sad. I'm XYZ. Leave the job. It's difficult, right? But once you leave the job, that frees you up to go find something better. Again, I understand people have bills, people have responsibilities, and like I said, this can be applied to any situation. If it's a relationship, if it's a job, if it's a friendship, I understand those things are difficult. And again, this is why knowing what you don't want is very important, because knowing what you don't want lets you know what is not serving you. It's not serving you right now, and it's not going to serve you in the long run. And it's just hindering you from accomplishing the things that you could be, the things that you do want. The thing is, if you did not want somebody when your standards were high, they're not magically going to become the perfect person, or the equally yoked person, or the person that you want, your preference, the preferred person to do life with when your options shrink. Okay, if he wasn't the person you wanted when your standards are high, he's not going to magically become the one when your options shrink. There is nothing worse than being in a relationship with your op. Shout out to the game and Shanice again, right? They weren't technically in a relationship. I'm thinking about making a video about that, but I'm not so sure. But yeah, so this was my thought on this video, is because I just feel like there is so much more, so much better waiting for you if you decide that this is what I don't want. And there is such a strength and beauty in knowing, hey, this is not what I want, and I can walk away from it. When you are able to walk away from things that don't serve you, even in the most difficult situations, that empowers you to make those decisions in all areas of life. And then it puts you again in a path where you can go for the things that you do want. That's when you start building the life that you want. The life that you want is not going to magically come to you. You have to know some of what you want, right? Even if you don't know everything that you want, you know some of what you want. But you most importantly have to know what you don't want for sure, so that you just cut it out, no matter how much it hurts, no matter how risky it seems, no matter how sad it seems, no matter how tough it seems. Trust me, your future self is going to thank you for not staying in a situation that drained you and sucked the life out of you, that depleted you, that made you sad, that made you cry. And you don't have to live in a life full of regret all the time. A lot of people feel like, they look back on their lives, they regret not leaving sooner, not, cutting out the bad things sooner. But trust me, your future self is going to thank you. So this was my thought on this. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Give me a like, give me a subscribe if you're interested in videos like this. I have more videos coming. Check out my previous video on Laterras and his wife. Let me know what you think. What are your thoughts? Do you have anything to add to the conversation? And I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.